one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from NBC Washington, and I just did the editorial on this. In a 13-minute speech in front of her mother, the mayor, and the Metropolitan Police Department command staff, D.C. Chief of Police Pamela Smith angrily defended the job she did and called out the people who questioned her integrity. She retired. She leaves the job under a cloud after two highly critical federal reports. When Smith announced earlier this month she is stepping down after 2.5 years in the role, she said she had decided to leave the job to spend more time with her family. And after 28 years in law enforcement, she said it was time to move on. She said this has really been a fast-paced role because it is in a major city. And I know that the challenges that we faced we've had some high points and we've had some low points. But respectfully, right now, this is a personal decision for myself and for my family, said Pamela Smith. Now, since that announcement 2 weeks ago, and I did the story on what happened here, Smith stayed silent as reports from the U.S. House Oversight Committee and the Department of Justice claimed she created a toxic management culture within the police department in which commanders said they felt pressured and even instructed to lower some crime classifications. But at police headquarters on her last day in office last Friday, Smith made it abundantly clear she was furious with how she was portrayed in those reports. She said, and she had something to say to the people who questioned her integrity. Pamela Smith said, let's be really clear about one thing. Never will I ever compromise my integrity for a few crime numbers. And she started raising her voice like a preacher from the pulpit. She said, never would I compromise my love for God, the faith that I had in this city. Never would I compromise my integrity. Never would I compromise 28 years in law enforcement for a few folk who couldn't stand to be held accountable. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again. Amen, right? Smith appeared to be directing her remarks at the commanders who spoke to investigators with the House Oversight Committee. She said, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you attack my integrity, attack my character? You don't know who I belong to. That's right. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser pushed back on the House report, calling it a rush to judgment to serve a politically motivated timeline. She thanked the police chief this last Friday, said, thank you for your leadership over the last 2 years. I want to thank you for your spirit of accountability. Before ending her remarks, Smith had a word for those who she called haters. She said, so I'm going to the Bible when I say this to my haters. F you. Yeah, that's in the Bible. Some in the crowd gasped. Others chuckled. Someone yelled, drop the mic. She said, no, it's not a drop the mic moment. Watch me in this space. I forgive you. After Smith left the podium, she returned to say the people who said those things about her should be investigated. As she did the traditional walkout from police headquarters, Smith turned one more time and waved to the people there to say goodbye. That's, in the Bible. F you! And I said, I forgive you. That's what she should have just went with. If you went over the F you. I mean, I can't find that in the Bible. I don't know. Although I know they say Mary smoked. Yeah, they said Mary smoked because she lit up on her camel. Some people are going to go, what? Yeah, younger crowd, you won't get that. But in the Bible, when someone lit up on their camel, that meant to get up on the camel, like you would get up on a horse. But it's also kind of a double meaning because you would light up on a camel. When you have to explain your jokes. But all of that aside, so what happened was I did the editorial on this. They were saying that she was telling people, you're going to lower the crime classifications and we're going to do this. And they say she would yell at people and embarrass them in front of their peers at these meetings or these briefings. And they said she just created this toxic environment and everybody was just wish she would leave. And the crime classification thing, the story that I did, they're thinking it was over President Trump saying, I'm sending in troops to take over the city. We're going to take over. You can't handle it, chief. And so the chief, allegedly says, we're going to change the crime classifications until the president, hey, we got this. Everything's good in the hood. You don't need to come here. But as you see in this story, she came back and said she didn't do that. You got to take her at her word. I don't know she said this, they said this, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. But the thing that got me was the end of that is she's ending it and says, I'm going to go right to the Bible with this. F you. And I'm not judging her. Look, I'm not without fault. I am not throwing stones because I live in a glass house. I just thought it was kind of, I don't know, funny, humorous a little that she did that. But she did say, I forgive you. And we'll see if she actually forgives them. I don't know. But she should have told them, you all need to stop drinking Haterade, okay, and start drinking water. I want to know what all you think. Let me know.